one of the most punctual people I think I've ever met in my life. Good morning, Huey Lewis.
Morning, Steve. How are you?
Well, I'm doing great, and thank you for taking time out. I know you had a big show last night, and looking forward to seeing you a week from tomorrow right here in Portsmouth, Ohio.
Exactly. Yeah, we're excited about it.
Hey, I got a big question for you. Big hardball question. I know you're heading off to Hawaii here for a couple of days. You taking your golf clubs?
Of course I am, sure.
Well, I tell you what, you're going to be not lost for courses out there. How long are you going to be out in Hawaii before you get here?
Well, we have a couple days off, and then we have a show, so we probably have 3 days. I think we have 3.5 days. We take a red eye back, and we'll probably play more golf holes than hours on the island.
Now, we've got a couple of classic courses here, so if you get time, man, I know you're going to be busy, but just want to, plant the seed there if possible.
Yeah, we don't quite play as much as we used to because we're not as young as we were, Steve, and we concentrate on the show nowadays. But yeah, we still bring our clubs on the road and play occasionally. Sure.
Well, it's nice to have you back again. You took about a 10-year hiatus during the first decade of the new millennium. But you thrilled us all, especially in the radio business, back in October when you released Soulsville. Great album.
Thank you. Appreciate it. We're very proud of it.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about the motivation here, some of the songs and so on and so forth. Obviously, songs that you care deeply about.
Yeah, the idea, we had the idea sort of to make a kind of a Stax, loosely, a Stax tribute record. And
right.
Then, but we knew we needed to be careful. So the idea was, we want to have something new to offer. So the idea was, rather than, do sort of original or contemporary interpretations of the big hits, the chestnuts, if you will, like
right.
Midnight Hour, Knock on Wood, that kind of stuff, we thought we'd go deeper in the catalog and find some songs that most people hadn't heard and capture them faithfully. So, hopefully that's... There's some new stuff on there for people.
Well, yeah, and your interpretation of Respect Yourself was as good as it gets, and that's been one of our staple songs here, if you will, since last October. Hope you don't mind.
No, Steve, play it as often as you like.
Well, we can't be accused of not playing enough Huey, and especially with you coming to town here. Let's go back.
And, I should mention that the Respect Yourself, Dorothy Morrison, who sings that with me, and is a friend of ours from Oakland.
Right.
She's the gal who wrote and sang "Oh Happy Day" with the Edwin Hawkins singers many years ago. Great.
Well, yeah, I thought at first that might have been Mavis Staples, but then I looked it up and I found out. But man, she does an excellent job on that.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. Well, you're going to be doing some stuff off Soulsville, I'm sure, along with some of the classics.
We will. We'll do a lot of the Soulsville, a lot of the new stuff, and then a lot of the old stuff as well. Yeah.
Let's go back and talk a little history. Just back to 1982, your second album, Picture This. When it was released, radio just simply fell in love with what you guys were doing, and you were one of the very few groups that actually sustained the entire 80s. If you remember, music kind of took a left turn around 85, 86, except for Huey Lewis and the News. Let's talk about that beginning and what a magic time it was.
Well, yeah, I mean, the 80s it was funny because they were kind of dismissed there for a while, but now as we look back, we realize that, a lot of stuff, I mean, music television was born in the 80s, which
right.
changed everything, and machines, a drum machine. I mean, the Hey 19, the Steely Dan tune, might have been the first record, first top 10 record with a drum machine.
Right.
And that was, I think, 1980 or thereabouts. And now, look at today. I mean, shoot, how many records are made with drum machines?
Well, being a pioneer also, I'm sure, breaking in right at the right time when MTV was in its infancy and you guys had a lot of creative input to that. I mean, your videos today are still, as funny as they ever were when they were first released.
No, you're sweet to say that, yeah. We, kind of not long, but it's kind of funny story. Our first, we made 2 videos ourselves for $800 each in a way to kind of promote the band in order to get a record deal, to show them this is what we look like.
Right. And
we had a lot of fun doing that, and they were very sort of arty, and it was real fun. And when we finally got a record contract, our record label, for Do You Believe in Love, which is our first single, really wanted to do a big-time video, and they hired we're kind of a fashion producer, and everything was in, he had pastel colors in the back. And we had a lot of makeup, and that's the one where we're all in the bed singing to the girl.
Right.
So now on the big playback, when we're done with it, and they spent a lot of money on this thing, they played it back and for all of us and the record label and all that, and everybody just loved it, and I thought it was cringeworthy. I just thought, whoa. And so the message to me was, wow, you know, it really doesn't matter. They like anything. We might as well do these ourselves. And so from that point, I decided we'd sort of conceive and direct our own videos, and that's how we had the idea of just kind of goofing off.
Well, you know, but that was good. I think music needed a sense of humor at the time, you know? I mean, Michael Jackson was doing his thing, and he's been a little too serious about it. And you guys just fell through the cracks at the right time doing the kind of stuff you were doing.
Yeah, well, the idea for the kind of, I felt like it was kind of a shame to have to tell the story again, you know, when you've written this song, and now they want to do the story. So much in the same way as a good book is always better than the movie, a good song is always better than the video, you know.
Right.
So my idea was to avoid a literal translation of the song whenever possible, and just sort of zig when the song zags, and just kind of goof off and shoot them in San Francisco, which is our home,
right,
and let seagulls chew the scenery.
Well, it certainly worked well for you. And then we go to 1985. Did you have any idea at the time, and I know a lot of times you get involved in projects and you know, either soundtracks or movies, so forth. And I know the name Steven Spielberg probably meant a lot, but did you have any idea at the time that that movie franchise was going to be what it is today?
No, of course not. I mean, I had no clue. I didn't even think the song was going to work. We took a meeting, and they said, look, we've just written this movie, and this guy, Marty McFly's favorite band would be Huey Lewis and the News. So
right,
how would you like to write a song for the movie? And I said, well, flattered, but, you know, I don't know how to write for film, and but we'll just send you the next thing we write. And the next thing we wrote was Power of Love, which I didn't think was going to work because there was no overt love object in the thing, you know. And,
right.
But they used it rather well.
Well, how did you get the cameo role in there? Did they ask you, or did I mean, that's one of those standout moments that I think in cinematic history, even though it was short, everybody remembers it.
Yeah, that was Zemeckis' idea, the director. He thought that would be kind of fun, and I said, well, I was reluctant at first, to be honest, and then I said, well, all right, I'll do it if you don't, you know, you disguise me somehow and don't credit me, and we'll just make it a little inside joke. And so.
Even those big dark black glasses couldn't disguise you, but that was great. Well, of course, you moved on into the 80s and into the 90s, again, doing great stuff. And again, I say that the 80s was kind of a weird decade of music because all of a sudden it took a right turn about 86, 87, but you guys just kept on chugging along doing what you did. And I think being in radio at the time, a lot of us were very thankful for the music of Huey Lewis and the News because it was kind of a constant in a decade that had just a lot of diversity.
Yeah, it's interesting. We never were a sort of an 80s band, you know. Interestingly, we started in kind of 77, 78, pre-music television. So it was still mostly an audio experience.
Right.
And so we didn't spend a lot of time, you know, on our image, if you will, or any of that sort of stuff. Only because television wasn't there. Had it sort of been there, I'm sure we would have, but we didn't, and so we were sort of anachronistic, but then even, you know, and that's actually served us well in the long haul because we never really set ourselves up to be too trendy, if you know what I mean.
Well, your stage act, let's get to that for just a second. I'll tell you what, there's just a very rare breed of artists that actually connects from the heart to the soul, if you'll excuse me on that one. But I'm telling you what, you guys create something on stage that's an incredible bond with the audience.
Well, you're sweet to say that, but that's really what we live for. That's you know, what we do best, and that's how we always started. And even now that the radio's changed so much, you know, we still write, and we still write for our band, basically. I always think about how is this song going to play live, and that's really what we do.
And that's the thing. That's the testimony to what you guys do, because anybody who's seen Huey Lewis knows that the you know, attention to detail on the live performances to the record is just impeccable. And let me ask you a question too on that. You've played the mega arenas, the normal domes, the super domes. You're getting back to a little bit more of an intimate crowd here. Now, does that bring back some of the beginning when you guys started out as, you know, playing the bars of San Francisco?
Sort of. I mean, the audiences are smaller, but let's be honest. When we started out, we were a beer and hot dog band, and now we're hanging with a wine and cheese set. So, but by the way, I like it a lot. I mean, we play smaller venues, and typically they're, more intimate. It's way more musical. They charge people more, but they get a better experience, and it's actually a lot more of a musical exercise than the big arenas.
Now, when you come to Portsmouth, you're going to be playing the Vern Rife Center for the Arts. This place is a state-of-the-art facility. I think there's only 4 of them in the country. And it's 1,150 people. And, Huey, it's going to be just like you're sitting in somebody's front room performing. It's going to be wonderful.
Right. That's where you want to see somebody, I think. That's great.
Yeah. Now, but you guys, how many members? I'm pretty sure most everybody's still original, aren't they, as far as the original news?
Well, 4 of the 6 of us are founding members.
Right.
We have a new bass player 18 years ago. We have a horn section, a 3-piece horn section that we added 16 years ago, maybe 17 years ago, and a new guitar player 9 years ago.
Wow. Incredible. Well, the music just speaks for itself, and I know you're back on tour. Now, were you touring during the first part of the millennium from about 2000 to 10, or did you take a little time off?
No, we've toured every year. We reduced our schedule in the sort of mid-90s. We do about 65 shows a year, and we've continued to do that. And that seems to be about the right number.
Right.
If you don't play too much, it's the best job in the world. So, but we never have quit. We've played every year.
Yeah. Well, I've bragged about your golf game a lot because I've seen you play. Let me tell you, after all these years, can you reveal your handicap?
I'm on 7.1 right now.
7.1.
Yeah.
Okay, I was going to say close to scratch, but that's.
Well, I've been a lot lower. I have wedge issues at the moment. I have
wedges.
You have to play a lot of golf to hit short wedges as bad as I do.
Yeah. A lot of practice. Well, Huey, I know you had a show last night. You're going to be in Charleston, West Virginia tonight, aren't you?
No, we're in Charleston last night.
Last night.
You got me. I don't know where we are. What do we think? Do I?
I think Lowell.
We're in North Carolina somewhere.
Okay. Well, I knew Lowell would know. Lowell would point in the right. Yeah, I know. Well, Huey, I do appreciate you taking time out to talk to us this morning because I'll tell you what, we are stoked and ready. And we're going to give you, there's a little saying about our town. This is where Southern hospitality begins. And we're going to prove it next Saturday night when you come and help us celebrate the 25th anniversary of Shawnee State University. I know you've played a lot of college campuses, but I'm telling you, this is a growing university. And they are just absolutely as good as it gets and celebrating 25 years. And I can't think of a better way to celebrate it than with you celebrating 25 years of Back to the Future and almost 30 years of the greatest hits of all time.
Excellent. Yeah. Well, we're looking forward to it. We hear the Vern Riff Center is really great, so that'll be really fun.
All right. Well, Huey Lewis, you travel safe to Hawaii. Shoot good low scores, and then we'll talk about it when we get back together next week. All right?
All right. Thanks, Steve.
All right. Thank you. Huey Lewis this morning joining us live, and of course he'll be here next Saturday for the show of all shows.